My name is Patricia Ann Wilson. Most people just call me Patty. I'm 69 years old now, living in a cozy little bungalow on the outskirts of Charlotte, North Carolina. The kind of place with a front porch swing and neighbors who wave every morning. But don't let the peace fool you. My life hasn't always been this quiet. For 5 long years, I've been in the fight of my life, against my own flesh and blood. This is the full story, the raw, unfiltered truth of how I poured nearly $100,000 into my son Brandon's life, thinking it was love, only for him and his wife Megan to shatter my heart by excluding me from their wedding. How they turned around and tried to have me declared mentally unfit just to get their hands on what was left of my savings. And how, at an age when most folks are slowing down, I found the strength to stand up, fight back, and reclaim my life. If you stick with me through this hour-long tale, I'll share the courtroom moment that left even the judge wiping away tears, and the final words my son screamed at me when he realized he'd lost everything. Let's go back to where it all started. It was early 2018. My husband, Richard, God rest his soul, had just passed away after a brutal battle with pancreatic cancer. We'd been together since we were 17, high school sweethearts in a small town outside Raleigh, married 44 years, raised 1 boy, built a modest life. Richard worked as a mechanic, long hours under greasy hoods, so we could save for retirement. When he died, he left me the house, mortgage-free, a pension that covered the basics, and about $380,000 in savings and investments. It wasn't a fortune, but it was security, something to live without worry in my golden years. Our only child, Brandon, was 28 at the time. He'd always been my baby, sensitive, artistic, never quite found his footing in the real world. After college, which we paid for, he bounced between jobs, barista, graphic designer gig here and there, even tried starting a podcast that went nowhere. He'd moved to Atlanta for opportunities, living in a rundown apartment with his girlfriend Megan. Megan was sharp as a tack, beautiful, ambitious, with a smile that could light up a room. She worked in marketing, but her job was unstable, always between contracts. The first ask came innocently enough. It was a rainy afternoon in March 2018. Brandon called, voice shaky. "Mom, rent's due and Megan's check bounced. We're short $200. Can you spot us? I'll pay you back next week." Of course I said yes. What mother wouldn't? I Venmo'd it right away, added an extra $50 for groceries. "Love you, Mom," he texted back with a heart emoji. But next week turned into next month. Then it was the car repair, $650 for a new transmission. "Mom, without the car, Megan can't get to interviews." Then utilities, $320 overdue, electric company threatening shutoff. Then Brandon's freelance equipment, a $1,200 laptop because his old one crashed during a big project. By summer, it was routine. Every first of the month, like clockwork, $1,500 for rent and bills. I started dipping into the savings. Told myself it was temporary. The economy was tough post-2018 slump. Kids these days had it harder than we did. Megan started calling too. She'd butter me up first. "Patty, you're like the mom I never had. My parents were so distant." Then the ask, $400 for professional headshots to land a better job. $750 for a certification course, $2,300 for moving to a safer neighborhood. Atlanta's getting rough. I never questioned it. In fact, I felt useful. After Richard died, the house felt empty. Helping them filled the void. I'd skip my own luxuries. No more weekly book club lunches, no spa days, no updating the kitchen like I dreamed. Oatmeal for dinner, beans and rice, saving every penny for the kids. By the end of 2019, I'd sent over $28,000. Brandon got a big break, a contract job that paid decent, but the asks didn't stop. Now it was investments in our future. $4,500 for Megan's business idea, some online boutique that never launched. $1,800 for a couple's retreat to strengthen our relationship. In 2020, COVID hit. Everyone was scared. They lost jobs overnight. I ramped up. $2,200 monthly now, covering everything. Groceries delivered via Instacart on my card. Netflix, Hulu, all the subscriptions. Even $600 for a Peloton because we need to stay healthy in lockdown. I started tracking it in a little notebook. Not out of resentment. At first, it was pride. Look how much I'm helping my family. But the numbers added up fast. 2020 alone, $31,200. Richard's voice echoed in my head sometimes. Patty, we saved this for us, for travel, for peace. But I pushed it away. Brandon was my legacy. Megan too. She called me mom now. In late 2021, the big news. They were engaged. Brandon FaceTimed me, Megan flashing the ring. A stunning solitaire diamond, 1.5 carats. Cost? $8,200. How'd they afford it? They didn't. I did. In installments, over 6 months, disguised as rent help. I was thrilled. Finally, something positive. I threw myself into wedding planning, called venues in Atlanta, sent Pinterest boards of dresses, even paid a $2,800 deposit on a garden haul they loved. Bought swatches for my mother of the groom outfit, $450 including alterations. Saved another $12,000 in a separate account for gifts, honeymoon contribution, whatever they needed. We talked weekly. Or so I thought. Looking back, it was always about logistics. Never, how are you, Mom? Just, can you cover this? But I didn't see it. Love blinds you that way. Then, June 2023, a sunny Tuesday. I called to finalize guest list. My sister from Florida, old family friends. Megan answered, giggling with voices in the background. Sounded like a party. Oh, Patty, funny you call. We got married last Saturday at the courthouse. Kept it super intimate, just the special people, you know? Special people. The phone slipped from my hand, cracking on the floor. My heart cracked too. I mumbled something like, congratulations, and hung up. Opened Instagram, there it was. A full album. Megan in a lace gown. $3,900. I later found the receipt in my email from a bridal expense I'd covered. Brandon beaming. Her parents toasting with flutes. Her 2 brothers, sister, college besties. A small reception at a trendy rooftop bar. 47 photos. 0 with me. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the navy blue dress hanging in the closet. Useless now, like me. That night, I cried for hours. Not just sadness, rage, betrayal. 5 years, $97,000 by my calculations. For what? To be not special? The call started a week later. Megan first, voice desperate. Patty, the landlord's on us. We're $3,600 behind, 2 months. Eviction notice. You forgot the transfer? I let the silence stretch. Then, steady as steel. Megan, didn't you say you only invite special people? Well, I only help special people. She gasped. What, Patty? Your family. This is a misunderstanding. Click. Brandon next. Texts, voicemails. Mom, what the hell? The bank's saying no more auto deposits. Mom, answer me. We need this. I didn't. That was the spark. The war had begun.
The day after I cut them off, I did 4 things that changed everything. I walked into my local Truist branch and sat down with the manager, Linda, who I'd known for 20 years. Cancel every automatic payment to Brandon or Megan Wilson. Remove them as authorized users on every account, and I want a new account number today. Linda's eyes went wide when she saw the transaction history. Patty, this is almost $100,000 in 4.5 years. I just nodded. She printed everything, handed me the folder, and whispered, "Good for you." I called a locksmith and had every lock in the house rekeyed. Deadbolts, garage, everything. I ordered a full Ring camera system, front door, back door, driveway, doorbell, motion alerts straight to my phone. I blocked both their numbers. First time in my life I ever blocked my own child. For exactly 36 hours, there was silence. I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd feel shame. Then Saturday morning came. I pulled into my driveway after grocery shopping, my own groceries for once, and saw Brandon's black pickup and Megan's white SUV parked crooked across both spots. They were sitting on my front porch like they owned the place. I took a deep breath and walked up. Brandon stood first, face red, fists clenched. "Give us the new key, Mom. Now." Megan was crying the big crocodile tears she'd perfected. "Patty, we're family. You can't just lock us out like criminals." I stepped around them, keyed the new lock, and said over my shoulder, "Family doesn't exclude Grandma from the wedding photos. Criminals do." Inside, I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. 20 minutes later, I heard the front door rattle, then the back. Then my landline started ringing off the hook. Then the doorbell camera pinged. Brandon's face filled the screen, banging with his fist. I hit the intercom button. "Leave or I call the police." He laughed, actually laughed. "Go ahead, Mom, call them. Tell them you locked out your own son because you're having some kind of breakdown." That word, breakdown, lit something inside me. I dialed 911. "Hi, yes, I have 2 trespassers refusing to leave my property. They no longer have keys, and I've asked them multiple times." 2 Charlotte-Mecklenburg police cruisers rolled up within 8 minutes. Brandon tried the "she's my mom, she's confused" routine. The officer asked for ID, asked me if I wanted them removed. I said yes. Watching my own son being told to leave my property while Megan wailed in the driveway is a memory that still wakes me up some nights. They peeled out, tires squealing. Brandon yelled out the window, "This isn't over." He was right. 3 days later, I came home from lunch with my neighbor Gloria to find a silver Lexus in my driveway and a man in a cheap suit standing at my door holding a manila folder. He smiled like a shark. "Mrs. Wilson, I'm Victor Grayson, attorney at law. Your son has retained me. May I come in? We need to discuss your recent erratic behavior." I didn't open the door all the way. "Say what you need to from there." He flipped open the folder. "Brandon and Megan are deeply concerned about your mental health. Sudden personality changes, paranoia, installing cameras, isolating from family, making large financial decisions without consultation. In North Carolina, adult children can petition for guardianship if a parent appears incapable." I felt the blood drain from my face. They weren't just mad. They were trying to have me declared incompetent so they could take control of everything Richard and I had worked for. I closed the door, locked it, and called the one person I knew could help. Megan O'Leary, an elder law attorney my financial advisor had recommended just in case. Margaret answered on the second ring. "Patty, I've been waiting for your call. Bring every bank statement, every Venmo screenshot, every text message. We're going to war." That afternoon, I sat in her office in downtown Charlotte and cried for the first time in front of a stranger. She pushed the Kleenex box toward me and said, "Honey, I've seen this 100 times. Greedy kids smell inheritance and decide mom's better off protected. We're not letting that happen." She laid out the plan. Document everything. I already had the notebook and spreadsheets. Get a full cognitive evaluation from a neutral neuropsychologist. File for a restraining order if they showed up again. Prepared to countersue for elder financial abuse if they pushed guardianship. That night,
Brandon and Megan created a joint Instagram post. Private, but a mutual friend screenshot it for me. A photo of them hugging with the caption, "Pray for us, doing the hardest thing we've ever had to do to protect someone we love from hurting herself." Over 400 likes. Half the comments, "You're such good kids." The other half, "What did she do?" I turned my phone off and slept for 14 hours straight. When I woke, I made a decision that scared me almost as much as losing my money. I was going to fight dirty too. First move, I called Megan's mother, Denise. We'd always gotten along. I kept my voice sweet. "Denise, did you know they're trying to have me declared insane so they can take my house?" Dead silence. Then, "Patty, they told you you've been forgetting things, talking to yourself, that you gave away thousands to some scam." I sent her the spreadsheet, $97,000 worth of proof. Denise called me back in tears. "I'm so sorry. We had no idea." Within a week, Megan's parents stopped returning her calls. Turned out they'd been funding this secret wedding too and had just found out none of their money actually went to the venue I paid for. The family fracture had begun. But Brandon and Megan weren't done. Not even close. The guardianship petition hit my mailbox like a bomb. It was a thick envelope from Grayson Law Firm stamped "Urgent Legal Notice." I didn't open it alone. I drove straight to Margaret's office. She slid it open with a letter opener and scanned the pages, her face hardening with every line. "Patty, they're going all in, claiming cognitive decline, paranoia, financial irresponsibility. They're requesting an emergency hearing to appoint Brandon as your temporary guardian. If they win, he gets control of your bank accounts, your house, everything." I felt sick. My own son, the boy I'd nursed through chickenpox, coached through Little League, paid for college, now painting me as a senile old woman to steal what was left of his father's legacy? Margaret leaned forward. "But they've made mistakes. No medical evidence yet, just affidavits from them and 2 witnesses. We counter with facts." The witnesses? One was their neighbor in Atlanta, a guy named Derek who'd apparently seen me acting erratic during a visit last year. I yelled at Brandon for forgetting my birthday, big deal. The other, Megan's best friend, who swore I forgot conversations and hoarded cash. Lies. I'd stopped carrying cash to avoid their borrowing. Our first counterpunch, the cognitive eval. Margaret sent me to Dr. Elena Ramirez, a top neuropsychologist in Charlotte. 2 hours of tests, memory recall, puzzles, math problems, emotional assessments. Dr. Ramirez's report came back glowing. Mrs. Wilson exhibits above average cognitive function for her age. No signs of dementia, delusion, or impairment, fully capable of managing her affairs. Exhibit A in our arsenal. Next, we filed for a temporary restraining order. No contact, no showing up at my house, no harassing calls. The judge granted it ex parte, meaning without them present, based on the police report from the porch incident. But Brandon and Megan ignored it. My Ring app pinged constantly. Their cars slowing by my house at odd hours, anonymous calls from burner numbers. "You're going to regret this, old lady." Megan's voice, I'd swear. Even a fake pizza delivery guy who accidentally tried my doorknob. I documented every violation. Screenshots, timestamps, everything. Margaret smiled grimly. This is gold. Violating a TRO? Judges hate that. The hearing was set for 3 weeks later in Mecklenburg County Family Court. I spent those weeks preparing like my life depended on it, because it did. I reached out to old friends I'd neglected during the giving years. My sister Linda flew in from Florida. We pored over texts, hundreds of "Mom, need $500 for" messages, 0, "How are you?" ones. Gloria, my neighbor, became my rock. She'd gone through something similar with her daughter, cut off the money, faced threats, won in court. We testified together. Show the judge you're surrounded by real support, not leeches. I even hired a private investigator. $2,500 well spent. He dug up dirt. Brandon's contract job was a pyramid scheme side hustle. Megan's marketing gigs were sporadic at best. Their credit reports, maxed cards, overdue loans, all in my name as co-signer from years ago. Motive on a platter. The night before the hearing, I couldn't sleep. I sat on my porch swing, staring at the stars, whispering to Richard, did I fail as a mom, or did I enable too much? No answer from the heavens, but in my gut, I knew. Love isn't a blank check. Court day. Downtown Charlotte, 8 a.m. sharp. I wore my best pantsuit, charcoal gray, no nonsense. Margaret beside me, briefcase bulging. Brandon and Megan were already there. He in an ill-fitting suit, probably borrowed. She in a demure dress, playing the concerned daughter-in-law. No eye contact from either. Their lawyer, Grayson, opened with drama. Your Honor, Mrs. Wilson has undergone a radical personality shift, from generous matriarch to paranoid recluse overnight. She's cut off her only family, installed surveillance like Fort Knox, and refuses medical eval. We fear self-harm or exploitation by outsiders. He paraded their witnesses. Derek, the neighbor. She screamed at Brandon once, totally unprovoked. Megan's friend. Patty forgets things mid-sentence. She's not right. Then Megan, on the stand, tears flowing. We love her so much, Your Honor. Seeing her deteriorate, it breaks us. We just want to protect her assets, for her sake. Brandon next, voice cracking. Rehearsed, I'm sure. Mom was always our rock. Now she's pushing us away. I think she's depressed, maybe early Alzheimer's. As her son, I have to step in. Margaret's cross-exam was surgical. Mr. Wilson, how much has your mother given you financially in 5 years? I don't know exactly. Would $97,000 refresh your memory? She held up the spreadsheet. Objection, overruled. And when did this decline start? Right after she stopped the money? Silence. For Megan, you say you're concerned. When was the last time you visited without asking for funds? We always talk about life, too. Exhibit B, 247 text threads. 92% contain money requests. Our turn. Dr. Ramirez, cognitively sharp as a 50-year-old. My banker. Patty's managed her accounts flawlessly for decades. Gloria, she's thriving. Book club, gardening, sharper than ever. My sister, Brandon has always been entitled. This is greed, not concern. Finally, me. I took the stand, voice steady. Your Honor, I raised Brandon alone after my husband died. Worked 2 jobs, never asked for a dime back, but love isn't endless handouts. They excluded me from their wedding after I funded it, called me not special. When I stopped paying, they called me crazy. This isn't protection, it's theft. The judge, an older woman with kind eyes, adjourned for deliberation. 30 minutes later, petition denied. Clear financial motive, no evidence of incapacity, restraining order made permanent. Mrs. Wilson, counter-sue if you wish. We won round 1. But outside, Brandon cornered me in the hall, violating the TRO already. This isn't over, Mom. You'll be alone in a nursing home begging for us. Megan smirked behind him. Little did I know, they were just getting started.
Winning that first hearing felt like breathing fresh air after being underwater for years. Margaret hugged me in the courthouse lobby. Patty, this is huge. Most cases like this drag on, but the judge saw right through them. I traded myself that night. Takeout from my favorite Italian place, a glass of Merlot, and a long bubble bath. No more scrimping for the kids. This was my victory lap. But victory? It was short-lived. 2 weeks later, my mailbox held another bomb, a subpoena for a full psychiatric evaluation. Brandon and Megan had appealed the denial and requested court-ordered testing. Their new claim, hidden mental illness, possibly bipolar or early-onset dementia, masked by manipulation from external parties. Margaret called it phishing. They're desperate, no evidence, so they're forcing tests to find something. Anything. The eval was at a state-appointed clinic in Charlotte. I showed up early, dressed sharp, Dr. Ramirez's report in hand. The psychiatrist, Dr. Harlan, was a stern man in his 60s. 2 hours of questions. Do you hear voices, forget where you parked, feel persecuted? I answered honestly, calmly, even threw in some humor. The only persecution I feel is from my son's lawyer bills. His report came back 2 weeks later. No psychiatric disorders, mild stress from family conflict, but fully competent. Strike 2 for them. But they escalated. My phone started ringing from unknown numbers. Voicemails. Mrs. Wilson, this is social services. We've received a report of self-neglect. Hi, Patty. Adult Protective Services here, concerned about isolation and financial mismanagement. Anonymous tips. They'd called the authorities, painting me as a vulnerable senior living in squalor. A caseworker showed up unannounced. Young woman, badge and clipboard. Mrs. Wilson, may I come in? Reports of hoarding, unsafe conditions. I let her in. House spotless, thanks to my new cleaning routine. Therapy, really. We talked for an hour. I showed her the court docs, the spreadsheets, the restraining order. She left shaking her head. This smells like retaliation. I'll close the file. But the damage was done. Neighbors whispered. One even asked if I needed help remembering things. Then, the big betrayal hit. It was a crisp October morning. I opened my email to a forwarded message from my sister, a GoFundMe link. Title, Help Save Our Beloved Mom from Exploitation. Brandon and Megan's faces beamed in the photo. Story, our dear mother Patty has fallen under the influence of predatory friends and lawyers. She's cut us off, changed locks, and we're fighting to get her the care she needs. Legal fees are mounting. Any donation helps us protect her from those taking advantage. Goal, $25,000. Raised so far, $1,800 from sympathetic strangers and Megan's extended family. I felt violated. They'd turned my pain into a public sob story for profit. Margaret was furious. This is defamation. We sue. We filed. Libel, emotional distress, violation of the TRO. They'd mentioned my name publicly. Countersuit for the $97,000 as undue influence and financial abuse. Discovery phase began. Their finances laid bare. PI's work paid off. They owed $42,000 in credit debt, much on luxury items, trips, gadgets. The secret wedding? Catered reception cost $9,200, paid with a cash advance from a card I co-signed. Emails surfaced. Megan to Brandon, months before the wedding. Patty's check cleared, ring's ours. Don't invite her, she'll make it about her sob story. My heart shattered reading that. The media caught wind. Local Charlotte News ran a segment. Family feud, son sues mom for guardianship amid abuse claims. Anonymous sources, them, spun it as elder in crisis. I declined interviews, Margaret's advice. But online, hell broke loose. Reddit threads, AITA for suing my mom. Brandon's alt account we suspected. Comments tore me apart. Entitled boomer hoarding wealth. Others defended. Sounds like mooching kids. I stopped checking social media. Thanksgiving came, first without them in 30 years. I hosted Gloria and her family instead. Laughter, real turkey, not the cheap ham I'd bought to save for their needs. It healed a little, but December brought the storm. Christmas Eve, my doorbell rang. Ring cam, Brandon, alone, holding a wrapped box. Snow flurrying behind him. Against better judgment, I opened the door a crack. "Mom, can we talk? No lawyers, just us." He looked broken, bags under eyes, unshaven. Part of me softened. The mom part. I let him in, kept the chain on at first. He sat on the couch, box on his lap. "Mom, I'm sorry. The wedding," Megan pushed for small. "I should have fought." Tears. Real? Hard to tell. "We miss you. The money, it got out of hand. But we're drowning now. Lost the apartment, living in a motel." My resolve cracked. The box was a photo album. Old pictures. Baby Brandon, family vacations, Richard's last birthday. I cried, hugged him. For a moment, hope. Then, "Mom, if you could just help with first month rent on a new place, $2,400, I'll pay back." The spell broke. It was never about reconciliation, just another ask. I stood. "Brandon, leave." He snapped. "You selfish bitch, after everything we've done for you?" Done for me? Like what? Tolerate my existence? He stormed out, slamming the door. Box left behind, empty except for photos I'd given him years ago. That night, I burned the album in my fireplace. Symbolic. No more illusions. January, pre-trial motions. Their lawyer tried dismissing our suit. Failed. We deposed them. Megan on video, smug at first. "Why did you exclude Patty? It was our day. She stresses us out." Brandon, "The money was gifts she offered." Lies crumbled under evidence. Settlement talks. They offered drop everything, resume $1,000 monthly allowance. We countered repay $50,000, no contact ever. They refused. Trial set for March. As winter thawed, so did my fear. I started yoga, joined a senior travel group, booked a solo trip to Savannah, first vacation in years. But they had one last twist. March 17th, 2025. Mecklenburg County Superior Court, Courtroom 7C. The day my son tried to bury me alive, and the day I rose from the grave he dug. The courtroom was packed. Margaret had warned me, these cases draw crowds, especially when it's mother versus son. Reporters in the back row, a few true crime YouTubers, even some of Gloria's garden club ladies wearing purple in solidarity. Judge Evelyn Carter presided, 68 years old, steel gray hair, known for zero tolerance for elder abuse. Rumor was she'd once jailed her own nephew for trying the same stunt. Brandon and Megan sat at the plaintiff's table with Grayson. They looked polished, Brandon in a new navy suit, probably bought on a maxed-out card, Megan in soft pink, clutching tissues like a grieving widow. I sat with Margaret and our paralegal, 3 thick binders in front of us labeled Exhibits A through Z. Opening statements. Grayson went first, voice dripping with fake compassion. "Your Honor, this is a tragic case of a loving son forced to protect his mother from herself and from predatory influences. Mrs. Wilson has given away tens of thousands to strangers while refusing help to her own family. We ask only for guardianship so Brandon can safeguard what remains of his father's legacy." Margaret stood, calm as winter steel. "Your Honor, what we have here is textbook elder financial exploitation, followed by attempted theft through guardianship. The plaintiff spent 5 years draining Mrs. Wilson's retirement like an ATM, then punished her for turning it off. We will prove malice, fraud, and defamation, and we will ask this court to order full restitution of $97,000 plus damages." The trial lasted 4 days. Day 1 was their witnesses. Derek the neighbor, she screamed on the porch. seemed unhinged. Margaret showed ring footage. Brandon pounding the door, me calmly calling police. Derek went red. Megan's friend. Patty repeated herself, forgot plans. Margaret produced dated texts. Every forgotten plan was actually canceled because I'd sent money instead. Then Megan took the stand. Tears on cue. We never asked. She insisted. She wanted to feel needed after Dad died. When she stopped, we got scared she was being scammed by new friends. Margaret played the wedding voicemail. Megan's voice, crystal clear. Only the special people. Then the GoFundMe video. Help us save Mom from exploitation. The jury, 6 women, 2 men, visibly recoiled. Brandon's turn. He cried real tears this time. Mom, I'm sorry. I let Megan push me. I was weak. But guardianship is the only way to stop the lawyers from bleeding you dry. Margaret's cross was brutal. Mr. Wilson, you claim concern for legal fees, yet your GoFundMe raised money for your own attorney, correct? Yes, but... And you're living in a motel because you spent Mom's money on a $9,200 secret wedding reception instead of rent? Objection. Sustained. But the damage was done. Day 2 and 3, our turn. Dr. Ramirez testified for 2 hours, cognitive scores in the 94th percentile. My banker brought 87 pages of transfers, everyone labeled gift only after I'd already sent it. Gloria, my sister Linda, even the locksmith all painted the picture of a sharp, generous woman finally protecting herself. Then I took the stand. I told the whole story, Richard's death, the first $200 Venmo, the ring, the dress I never wore, the cracked phone on the kitchen floor. I read text messages out loud. Megan, 2022. Tell her the car died again. She'll send $800. Brandon, 2023. Wedding deposit came through. Don't tell Mom we used it for the bar tab. I looked straight at Brandon when I said, I didn't raise you to steal from widows. I raised you to be a man. Somewhere you forgot the difference. The courtroom was silent except for a few gasps and someone behind me whispering, Amen. Closing arguments. Grayson. This is family trying to help an elder. Margaret held up the $97,000 spreadsheet like a battle flag. This is family helping themselves to a confused bank account. Judge Carter dismissed the jury for deliberation at 3:12 p.m. on day 4. They were back in 47 minutes. We have a verdict. The 4 persons stood. On the claim of guardianship, we find for the defendant, Patricia Wilson. On the counterclaim of financial exploitation and intentional infliction of emotional distress, we find for the plaintiff, Patricia Wilson, and award compensatory damages of $97,000 and punitive damages of $150,000, $247,000 total. Brandon jumped up. This is bullshit. The bailiff moved toward him. Megan was sobbing into Grayson's shoulder. Judge Carter wasn't finished. She stared straight at Brandon and Megan. Young people, I have seen greed in my courtroom for 30 years, but rarely this level of calculated cruelty toward a parent. Mrs. Wilson, this court apologizes on behalf of a system that forced you to defend your own sanity. Judgment is entered. Garnishment begins immediately. Brandon lunged toward me as we stood to leave. 2 deputies grabbed him. He screamed over their shoulders, "You'll die alone, you selfish old hag. You'll rot with no one." I looked him dead in the eye and said the last words I will ever speak to my son. I already survived alone for 5 years, while you robbed me blind. I think I'll manage. And I walked out.
The day the verdict came down, I didn't celebrate with champagne. I drove straight to the cemetery where Richard is buried, sat on the grass in front of his headstone, and cried the first happy tears I'd had in 6 years. "I did it, honey," I whispered. "I protected what we built, and I finally protected me." 3 weeks later, the first garnishment check arrived, $8,500 straight out of Brandon's warehouse paycheck and Megan's new receptionist job. Every month after that, like clockwork. The judge had frozen their accounts and put liens on anything they might ever own. They can run, but they can't hide from a $250,000 judgment. Last I heard, through a mutual acquaintance who still pities them, they're living in a 1-bedroom outside Gainesville, Georgia. 2 air mattresses, no furniture, eating ramen, fighting constantly. The wedding album is apparently in a box in the closet because looking at it makes them argue about whose idea the secret wedding was. Karma doesn't always roar. Sometimes she just whispers and keeps whispering for the rest of your life. People always ask me, "Patty, do you ever miss your son?" The honest answer? I miss the little boy who used to run to me when he had nightmares. I miss the teenager who hugged me after his first heartbreak. That boy died somewhere along the way, and in his place grew a man who saw his mother as a retirement plan with a pulse. I stopped mourning the living a long time ago. Now let me tell you about the life I built instead. With the punitive damages, I paid Margaret's fees, paid off the small lien they'd managed to put on my house during the chaos, and then I did something Richard and I always talked about. I sold the big house in Charlotte, too many memories, and bought a bright, airy condo on the beach in Wilmington, North Carolina. White shiplap walls, a balcony that looks straight at the Atlantic, and a spare bedroom I actually use for guests who love me, not my wallet. I travel. 2025 alone, a month in Italy with my sister Linda, we ate our weight in pasta and laughed until we cried. An Alaskan cruise with Gloria and the Garden Club ladies, we saw whales at sunrise and toasted with mimosas. A painting retreat in Santa Fe where I finally learned watercolors. I'm not half bad. I volunteer every Wednesday at the local senior center teaching a class called Money and Boundaries, How Not to Bankroll Your Grown Kids. The room is always full. Half the women are crying by the end because they see themselves in my story. I hand out Margaret's business card like candy. I made new family, real family. Thanksgiving now has 18 people around my table. Gloria, Linda, the Garden Club ladies, 2 widows from my painting class, and a wonderful widower named Tom who brings the best pecan pie in North Carolina and kisses me like I'm 29 instead of 69. We dance in the kitchen to Aretha Franklin. Nobody asks me for a dime. And the money? After everything, I still have more than Richard and I ever dreamed. Half goes into a trust that benefits women's shelters and elder abuse prevention. The other half? I spend it on me, guilt-free. New clothes that actually fit, concerts, flowers on the table just because they're pretty, and spontaneous road trips when the mood strikes. Sometimes, late at night, I sit on my balcony with a cup of tea and watch the moon over the ocean. I think about that cracked phone on the kitchen floor the day Megan said, "Only special people." That moment broke me, but it also remade me. I learned 4 lessons I want every single one of you to tattoo on your heart. Love is not a transaction. If you have to buy it, it was never love. No is a complete sentence, and it gets easier every time you say it. Your children are not entitled to your retirement. They're entitled to the childhood you already gave them. That's it. The second half of life can be the best half, but only if you stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. So here I am, Patricia Ann Wilson, 70 years young next birthday, happier than I've ever been, dancing on the grave of the doormat I used to be. If you're watching this and you're scared to say no, if you're emptying your savings for grown adults who treat you like a bank, if you've ever heard the words "only special people" or "you'll die alone" as punishment for having boundaries, close this video right now. Open your banking app and cancel the next transfer. Change the locks. Call a lawyer. Call a friend. Call me if you have to. I'll answer. Because I promise you, on the other side of that terrifying no is a life so full, so peaceful, and so completely yours that you'll wonder why you ever waited. This is Patty Wilson, signing off from Wilmington, North Carolina. The ocean is calm tonight, the moon is bright, and for the first time in my entire life, I am completely, unapologetically free. Thank you for letting me tell my story. If it helped even one of you stand up today, then every tear, every courtroom day, every sleepless night was worth it. Now go love yourself the way you've been loving everyone else. See you on the other side of freedom. Good night, darlings. Final screen. If this story touched you, like, subscribe, and comment "I choose me" below. Your support keeps these stories coming. And remember, you are always the special person in your own life. Soft fade to black.